So participants here. Raise hand.
Oh, shit. Okay. Thank you.
No, my point is, I didn't know if Iowa was running it. And didn't know if their protocol was like Michigan, where it's like, no, you can't force.
So you want it on mute.
Five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not getting anything out of that speaker. If that's what you're asking?
Are you getting, well, they're not talking.
No. And remember, this needs to go through. Yep, we hear you.
I could hear you, Jim.
Thank you very much.
All right, Matt. I'm going to go ahead and mute it again until we start.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Lance, just a reminder, that needs to go
No, not that one. Other one. That one.
This one?
Okay, thanks for joining us, everybody. Alaric Jackson, offensive lineman, will be first. If you have a question for Alaric or any of the players or coach, raise your hand virtually in the participant window located at the bottom of your screen. We'll get started once Alaric steps to the podium.
Hello, good afternoon.
AJ, thanks for joining us. Congrats on today's win. We'll start with a question from Scott Doctorman.
Hey, AJ, thanks for joining us today. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the running game. You guys ran for 226 yards. What did it mean for you as an offense and as an offensive lineman to get the running game going the way you did?
It felt pretty good, honestly. After a tough week, like the past 2 weeks, coming up short, we played our butts off, honestly, on all levels, special teams, offense and defense. But the O-line this week really keyed in on just finishing drives, extra 1-2 yard, just a little detail for the most part.
Tom?
Hey, Alaric,
the tempo seemed to be different this week. You guys coming out of the gate with 2 new linemen in there. Talk about that tempo and how it got going.
Just all week was hounding tempo for the most part. Just getting to line of scrimmage, setting the tone for the most part. I mean, we did our job up front and come out victorious.
Chad?
Hey, Alaric, can you just give me a sense of what you guys said to each other this week to keep each other's spirits up, et cetera? I know it was a weird week with the election, et cetera. I don't know. How'd you guys hold it together and deliver the performance you did today?
Just embracing everything for the most part, embracing the 2 losses, looking forward. Couldn't be thinking about the past. Just trying to be the best us that we could be this today, and we did that all week and showed today.
Scott?
Yeah, I mean, was there a point where you felt like this team was really close? I mean, clearly you're 5 points away from being 2-0 and not 0-2. How did that dwell into frustration and instead into success?
Just being that close, just got to push harder for the most part. I mean, anything small, extra rep here, extra rep there, because between being 3-0 and 1-2 was just small details for the most part. We only lose about 5 points.
Did you watch what Charlie Jones was able to do in the kick return game today?
Yes, I did. He's a great new addition to our team for the most part. Came from Buffalo. Didn't get to see him a lot last year, but he's doing pretty well this year, and I love it.
Any more questions for AJ? Scott, one more, or you got another one?
Yeah, I got another one. Tyler Goodson really came through and had one of his best days here. What did you think overall of his performance, and how was he able to get going?
All week, it just happened during the week for the most part. We put the work in, just did the small details. Tyler Goodson, Makai Sargent, Ivy Keller Martin, and all the 5 guys up front, we all did our job and came out victorious with the win.
What was it like in the locker room to punch through and get a victory?
It was great. I mean, haven't felt that good in a long time, honestly, being 0-2, obviously. But getting this win that big at home was a really good feeling for us.
Okay, thanks, AJ.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Next up, we'll have Tyler Goodson. If you have a question for Tyler, please raise your hand. Thanks for joining us, Tyler. We'll start out with a question from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, Tyler, it looked like the running game really had a lot of good balance in not only in formations and groupings, but in play calling. What do you think was the key today?
The key, in my opinion, was just honestly just working together and being one. Everybody's responsible and doing their job, and that's what we did today. And that led to the win, which gives us confidence going into next week.
Mark Emmert.
Yeah, Tyler, talk about that first drive. What did that do for you guys to get that first touchdown drive when you punched it in there?
Oh, yes. I would just like to say, obviously, being 0-2 is not a good start. So this team was very eager to come out and dominate the game, but most definitely the first drive most definitely gave us the confidence to be able to push through the whole game and go drive for drive.
Tom.
Tyler, 71-yard run. Can you walk us through that one and kind of what the play call was and if you thought you were going to get in the end zone?
Yes, inside zone out of the gun. From the snap, I could tell that the middle of the field was going to be wide open. I just had to be patient and be able to press. But going into the open field, I broke one tackle, and from there, I thought it was pretty smooth sailing from there. But obviously, it wasn't. But next time, I'll definitely finish the play.
Josh Christensen.
Yes, Tyler. After last week, I mean, how much did you try to tell yourself that eventually you in the running game, it's going to bust loose like you did today? I mean, how much did you try to be patient, just realize it's going to happen? We're going to get those yards. We're going to have those games that Iowa fans are used to seeing from that run game.
Right. I think it's just all about just having a freshman mentality going into each and every week that we'll be able to be successful in the run game. And that's just got to be my mentality, offensive line mentality, even every all cylinders in the football game. So it's just got to be the mentality of being able to knowing that you'll be successful.
Scott.
Yeah, running zone out of the gun seems to really fit you well. Last week it did, and certainly today. I mean, what do you see as a running back? Does it help your vision when your quarterback is standing right next to you in that situation?
Yes, for sure it does. I think being in the gun, it allows you to see the whole picture. The dot is great as well to be able to see the picture, but I think from the gun, in my standpoint, from my point of view, I think it's easier for me to see where everybody is out on the field.
Chad?
Hey, Tyler, what do you think a win like this can do for you guys going forward?
Yes, it most definitely builds confidence for us. Being 0-2 is very frustrating. So it's all about, just like I said before previously, it's all about having the mentality of being knowing that you'll be successful, and that's what we did today. But it definitely gives us confidence going into next week, knowing that this team is capable of winning, and we can do that over and over if we want to.
Mark Emmert?
Yeah, Tyler, can you talk about your offensive line a little bit? Obviously, you had 2 new starters in there, and it looked like they really set the tone. What impressed you the most about your offensive line today?
Really, it's all about what impressed me about them is that they had the next minute mentality. Losing 2 starters is obviously hard, but as long as you got guys behind them that's ready to go and they're ready to play, it's going to be great. So the offensive line worked well collectively, and they did a good job of that.
Any other questions for Tyler? Okay, thanks, Tyler.
Yep, thank you. Have a good day.
Next up, we'll have Spencer Petras. If you have a question for Spencer, please raise your hand in the participant window. Spencer, congrats on today's win. We'll start with a question from Chad Lysicow.
Hey, Spencer, how important was the first drive of the game just to, just march right down there and get points?
Yeah, extremely important. Set the tone from the beginning. We talked all week that we need to show up at 11:02 for the kick and be ready to play. And I think collectively we did that. So it was great start to the day.
Scott?
Yeah, usually, coming off a game like that, I'm sure you had to have a lot of reflection last week. How were you able to put that behind you, and what did you concentrate on in order to have a good week this week?
Yeah, I mean, every week you got to just focus on improving what you can, fixing what you can, and moving forward. And I think this team, we did a great job of this past week. We saw what we needed to do better, and we made corrections, and we had a good team win today.
Mark?
Yes, Spencer, obviously no turnovers today, only 1 sack. How important was it for you to kind of play that spotless football once you got that big lead?
Extremely important. It was an point of emphasis this whole week, because we've seen the last 2 weeks how we can play when we play turnover-free, really penalty-free as well. That starts with me. Last week, obviously, three turnovers for myself. So it was a point of emphasis, trying to play clean football. I thought we did a good job of that today.
Tom?
Spencer, how much was tempo talked about this week? I know that's something Kirk always talks about every week. And how does it feel to get your first win as a quarterback, starting quarterback at Iowa?
Yes, tempo is always extremely important. We play our best football when we're, getting in and out of the huddle, getting lined up fast and running plays. Gives our offensive line a chance to really get a rhythm, gives our receivers, running backs, myself a chance to keep the rhythm and grow on it. It's huge. And it feels great. It feels great to get the win, especially the way it came today. Full team effort, special teams, defense, offense. We all played well, so it feels great.
Chad?
Hey, Spencer, last week you had two interceptions off tip passes. Today you hit one off Tracy's hands and it goes into your teammate's hands. Is that the kind of type of break you need? The good fortune to just get things moving?
Yeah, it seems like it. Sometimes, plays go your way. Sometimes they don't, especially off a tip. It's liable to do anything. So that was definitely lucky. And, credit to Brandon for the heads up play and being able to track it and get the completion. But that was definitely, that was nice. We caught it this week.
Don Doxey?
Yeah, Spencer, there's a lot of talk of that taking Tuesday off might be a disruption for you guys. Is in the final result, was that maybe kind of overrated, that it wasn't a big factor at all?
I think it's definitely a factor. We talked this week, and really it's going to be next week as well. Anytime you have a short week or a disrupted week, Luckily it's usually the same for both teams. Like Michigan State had to take Tuesday off as well. So it's all about who can handle the week the best, who can win the week. And, it's going to be the same thing this upcoming week. We play on Friday. Which team can handle the week the best, prepare the best in the shortened time, or just the weird time, with a Tuesday off rather than, our normal Thursday. So definitely a big point emphasis on weird weeks.
Mike?
Oh, you're muted, Mike.
Let me unmute.
There we go.
I was ahead of them for once. You were without 2 starting offensive linemen, 1 starting wide receiver. How did the team adjust to that? Was there an adjustment?
No, I mean, we talk about a next man up mentality, and that was critical today. We did a great job. Our guys filling in for Amir and up front as well. Everyone filling in. That's what we have to do, because any year there's going to be injuries. There's going to be whatever. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be guys playing, especially this year. The COVID year. Who knows what can happen. So, next man up is huge, and I thought the guys that were in there today did a really good job.
Josh Christensen.
Spencer, after last week, Coach Ferentz talked about how, he definitely didn't want to see too much of the passing that you guys had. He wanted to find more balance, and it looked like you guys had that balance this week with that run game. I mean, how much did you guys talk about that, and how much does it show what that offense can be when you have that balance with that run game and it opens things up in the passing game for you like it did today?
Yeah. Any offense, in order to be successful, you have to be able to run the ball. We did a really good job of that today. Our offensive line blocked really well, especially against these guys that like to pack the box, and our running backs, they ran hard, they ran effectively. And that opens everything up. It makes it easier, makes it easier to do whatever we want to do in the offense. But yeah, staying balanced is huge. And, we did a good job of that today.
Okay, we'll take 2 more questions for Spencer. We'll start with Scott.
Yeah, Spencer, I guess this is kind of a 2-parter. One is Charlie Jones. Did you expect anything like that, especially on special teams? And then 2, short week, how does that alter your preparation going forward?
Yeah, Charlie Jones, he's shown it to all of us since he's been here, really. He's a really good player, great teammate, prepares really well, works hard. So, that's expected. He's a great player, and I'm really happy that he got the success that he had today. And really, that was on the whole special teams unit had an outstanding day. As I'm sure you guys know, Tori's doing a great job. They're all doing a great job on special teams, and him filling in on offense too. Charlie's a really good player, so that was awesome. And then the short week, everything just kind of speeds up. We don't have you lose a day, so you just have to do your normal preparation, but in 6 days instead of 7, or I guess 5 days and whatever, one less day. I'm not good at math, but yeah, so we'll come in tomorrow. Watch the tape from today, and then get right, moving on to Minnesota.
Okay, last question for Spencer. Rick Brown. Rick, you're muted.
Sorry. What's the Spencer? What has the film review been for you? Do you watch and say, "What was I thinking?" or has it helped you really advance your skill level at the college?
Yeah, every time we watch tape, there's plays where you're happy about what happened. There's plays where, you think, oh, I wish I'd done this. And there's plays that, there's stuff to improve on every week. And it's especially important, as a young guy for myself, just trying to soak up as much as I can, improve. And as a team, we saw a lot of things on tape that we can do better. And thought we did a great job of that today. So we'll have to, continue that tomorrow and kind of start the cycle over again.
Okay, thank you, Spencer. Congrats on today's win.
Thanks. See you guys.
How's it going, guys?
Good. Thanks for joining us, Riley.
Yep.
Questions for Riley? Chad Leistokow.
Hey, Riley, just bring back memories facing Rocky Lombardi and the final pass he threw in high school.
Yeah. Me and Jack Kerner were talking about that this week. Jack got one against him in high school as well. So we were excited to face Rocky again, and it was kind of fun to kind of relive those memories.
Can you walk me through the pick six, what you saw, etc.?
We were in cover two. One disappeared, two was vertical, so I sank. And then really the ball just literally came. It was a perfect throw to me. And then I just took it back. I was talking to Joe Evans, and he said he gave up his body on the return. And I was like, I shouted him out. I'm like, I couldn't have returned it without Joe Evans or any of those D lineman guys. So props to them.
Scott?
Yeah, this was an offensive unit that kind of exploded last week against Michigan. I mean, they had a freshman wide receiver that had almost 200 yards. So I'm sure you had to prepare for this. What did you see, and how were you able to kind of keep them in check for most of the game?
The game plan was, just do your job, follow your keys and your responsibility. The only way that we would hurt ourselves is big plays. I know I gave one up early, and I know that was wrong, and it's tough. It's a small margin playing corner, but came back. So we really understood that the only way that we lose this game is if we do it to ourselves and we give up the big plays.
Mark?
Hey, Riley, how big was the pressure that the D-line brought on Rocky? It seemed like he didn't really have a lot of time to throw, and we saw the result of that was he was kind of missing guys all day. How important was that pressure that you guys brought on the D-line?
It was huge. It makes our job in the secondary a lot much easier. So props to those guys. They did a great job this week in practice. Our preparation this week was probably the best we've had this year so far. So as long as we can keep building off that, I think we'll be doing pretty well.
Okay, I'll do a couple more questions for Riley. Chad?
Hey, I apologize for not watching after, but did you get a chance to talk to Rocky afterwards? I assume you guys all in the CIML, et cetera, have a pretty healthy respect for each other.
Yeah, we exchanged words. He's doing well. It was good talking to him. I haven't seen him in a few years, so yeah.
Okay, last question, Tom.
Riley, you mentioned that the prep was better this week. What was better about it? What did you notice that you guys were doing differently this week that helped?
Well, I think it was the plays in practice where even if it wasn't coming to your side, say it was a run play and it was opposite side, everyone was hustling to the ball, getting there. Even if you're just tagging off, but it was just hustling to the ball and kind of getting that in our heads. Like even if it's away, you still pursue to the ball, flying around. Our energy was great this week, and we were just excited to play the game. And I think if we do this every week, I think it will show for sure.
Okay, thank you, Riley.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Okay, next up is Charlie Jones. If you have a question for Charlie, please raise your hand. We'll start with Darren Miller.
Yeah, Charlie, I was wondering if you could just describe, is it an easy change to go from returning kicks and punts, or what is that difference?
They're kind of a little bit different. The biggest one is just the way the ball spins. Obviously on kick return, it's going to be end over end. And then on punt return, it's going to be more of a spiral. And returning it, pretty much the same. Just find the hole and hit as hard as you can. So in that aspect, they're pretty much the same. It's really just the way the ball comes off the leg.
Rick Brown. Rick, you're muted.
Okay. Charlie, on the touchdown, was it return right called and then you just made that cut left on your own?
I think that was actually return middle. And I took that first step and saw the left side was wide open. There was a great blocking on the left. So, I just went left with it.
Mark?
Yeah, Charlie, we haven't been able to talk to you before. Can you talk us through why you came to Iowa, why you chose Iowa, and how were you able to impress your coaches enough to get this opportunity?
That's a good question. Well, first of all, being at Buffalo is pretty far from home, so it's nice to be back close to the Chicago area. I know my family's pretty happy that I'm closer. But I just knew that I knew a couple coaches that coached here out of high school that recruited me. So I just wanted to go somewhere that, I knew people and I knew guys on the team. I knew this was a program where you could really work your way up just with hard work. And, that's really what it is. Just, come out every day and work hard. And, when your opportunity comes, just take advantage of it.
Scott?
Yeah, this offseason, I think you were still in Iowa City in the spring where a lot of people were going home. How did that help you build some sort of camaraderie with your fellow receivers, with Spencer? And do you think that helped you put yourself in the position where you could be in the part of the rotation?
Definitely. Yeah, that was a good time. I lived in Spencer's house with Nico and Lindy and all those guys. There's nothing else to do except for go out and run routes with Spence. So we did that every day. We worked out, and it definitely helped build chemistry and camaraderie between us. And became closer as friends and teammates. So it was a good time.
Mark?
Yeah, Charlie, you mentioned hard work there earlier, but obviously there's a skill that you bring to this position too. I guess what is it about your skill set that makes you a really good punt returner?
Oof. I guess it's just taking a risk. I guess I think on some of them I could fair catch it, but I take a little bit of a risk and try to make something out of nothing, and I think that might be the difference.
Tom?
Charlie, are you on scholarship yet? And if not, are you making a pretty strong case to get a scholarship?
I'm not on scholarship, no. So I hope. Just I'm gonna keep working hard, and if that comes, then great.
Isaac?
Yeah, Charlie. Could you take us through those 2 rushing plays you had today?
Yeah, sure. Those are just 2 rounds of flies, as we call them. So when I came in, heard in the huddle, and then Spence had a great handoff, and there's plenty of blocking and tons of room. So just went to the open field.
Scott?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a heck of a risk to actually leave a place like Buffalo where you had a really good year 2 years ago. Was it homesickness? Did you feel like you wanted to elevate your competition level? What was kind of the driving notion into entering the transfer portal and then ultimately walking on at Iowa?
That was just I love my teammates over there at Buffalo, and I love those guys. But I wanted to play against the best of the best. I knew that's the Big Ten. They do that every week, and then it just comes down to just working hard. And that's a day in, day out kind of thing. And I knew that if you do that every day and you just work hard, like I said before, and the opportunity comes, you just take advantage of the opportunities that you're given.
Mike? Mike?
Okay, yes. You've proven that you can play wide receiver in college football, and you were a big play guy at Buffalo. Is it this year just a matter of any way, shape, or form you can touch the ball?
Yeah, we got a lot of skilled guys in the room. And a lot of players, guys that can really make big plays. So, I'm just going to take advantage of the opportunities that I have out there. Even if it's 1 or 2, every time I go out there, I'm just going to try to do everything I can.
Mark?
Yeah, Charlie, can you sense the kind of juice that a punt return touchdown gives to your team and what it does to the other team when they give one up? It seems like that was a big play in this game.
Yeah, definitely. It's something we've been talking about in meetings, and it definitely brings a ton of energy to the sideline. Brings up everyone's energy. So yeah, definitely has an impact on the game.
Okay, we had time for a couple more for Charlie before we get to Chauncey Goldstein. Tom Caker.
Charlie, you said you knew a couple coaches here. Who did you know at Iowa that kind of brought you in?
I knew Coach Polisek when he was at North Dakota State. I actually almost went there. And Coach Copeland was there at Northern. another school that I was looking at coming out of high school.
Okay, thanks, Charlie.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Okay, the last player for today is Chauncey Goldstein. If you have a question for Chauncey, raise your hand. Thanks for joining us, Chauncey. Congrats on today's win.
Thank you.
Let's start with Mark Emmert.
Yeah, Chauncey, it felt like you guys had consistent pressure all day on Lombardi, made it really uncomfortable on him. What did you do well as a defensive line, you think?
Well, this season we've been trying to establish our identity. So getting after the passer as much as we can. We saw that against Michigan. They were beating them on deep balls. And to be able to throw the deep ball, you have to have a clean pocket or at least time to throw the ball. So we knew that if we got pressure, we stopped the run, that we could do what we enjoy doing, and that's rushing the passer. So that's just what we were trying to do all day.
Scott?
Yeah, I mean, last week they kept him pretty clean, and Michigan's got a couple of, pass rushers that everybody knows. What does this say about you and your teammates along the defensive line and how you're coming along?
I don't know. Like, a lot of people know big name guys, and you look towards them, but hard work is always going to prevail in the end, and that's what y'all saw out there. So,
Chad?
Hey, Chauncey, just how much did you feel like you were affecting Rocky Lombardi from the get-go with the pressure, et cetera?
So earlier this week in film, I was like the D lineman we were talking about, like when he sees pressure, he doesn't you can see it, like he flinches and stuff like that. So we knew that if we got pressure early and consistent, that he wouldn't we would get high passes and stuff like that. And that happened a few times on key third downs where he threw the ball high because John one time got a bull rush and put the offensive lineman in his face, just little stuff like that, just helping out our secondary whenever we can.
Mark?
Chauncey, have you been noticing extra attention being paid to you this year by the offenses? And did you feel like your defensive line was building toward this game all along?
Building towards this game? Well, we've been getting better week by week. So I guess we're building towards the last game. It's not just one game. We're trying to get better than we were the last week. So we're building towards every game, I guess.
Jeff Johnson?
Yeah, Chauncey, do you consider this almost a relief to get this first win as much as anything?
A relief?
As a team?
Yeah, I guess I don't know if I would say I guess a relief. Yeah, we work towards it, and when you work hard, you don't like last week we were working hard. We didn't get the result that we wanted, and we knew that if we kept working, eventually we would push through.
Chad?
Yeah, it's a little bit offbeat question here, but just a few minutes before kickoff, there was a pretty historic event that the president was named. Is that something you were aware of before the game as a team or not?
No, we're trying to play football. Politics, that's nowhere near what we were trying to do. That's not something that we were even thinking about. We got a game to play, and you talking about politics? Come on.
Anything else for Chauncey? Okay, thanks, Chauncey. Congrats.
Thanks. Have a good day.
We'll have a couple minutes until Coach Ferentz steps to the podium. A reminder before Coach Ferentz steps to the mic, we have Lisa Bluter and Fran McCaffrey press conference at Feller Club on Monday beginning at 1:30. Also, a reminder to send Steve Rowe any player requests for Tuesday's Zoom call with the football players. And going back to Monday, that is, just to clarify, that is just coaches, just Coach Bluter and Coach McCaffrey will do Zoom calls with the women's players and men's players at a later date. We'll keep you updated on that.
Okay, so good afternoon, first of all. Just, very, very proud of our team today. Just really proud of their effort all week. And obviously the performance today was really everything we had hoped for. But the guys played really hard out there. They played tough and they played physical and, just really pleased. Certainly all three segments played well. And most importantly, they complemented each other. And, not to single players up, but two of the first names that would come to mind for me would be our punter, Tory Taylor, and also Charlie Jones. Two guys that are newcomers that are just, really impacted the game today in a really positive way. And I'd also single out our kickoff coverage team. Not that they covered a lot of kicks today, but they've been outstanding all season long. So just really pleased with that as well. So, just really happy about that. Thought we got off to a strong start, and then we just kept playing well and complimentary football, as I mentioned. It certainly feels good to get the win today. So, we needed a win. We needed to play well. Our guys really responded, did a great job on that. And then, we have to transition out because we got another challenge. This is, you probably noticed there's a 4-week block here. This is week 2, finishing week 2. But in those 4 weeks, we have 3 weeks that are very different as opposed to a normal week, which kind of makes the normal week different too, because it'll be normal in the midst of, some weird weeks. So because of that, we really have to, we want the guys to enjoy the game today, feel good about what they did, what they accomplished. But we got to really transition fast tomorrow and think about our next game because we're going to be playing Friday. There won't be 7 days this time to get ready, down to 6. And, we certainly still have a lot of work to do. So that's where we're at right now. The note I made at the end of the week this past week, win, lose, or draw today. My point of emphasis to the team is I still think we can practice better. We're doing better weekly, but we still can practice better, and that's not going to change. That theme won't change. So it's a shorter week, unusual week, but we really need to have a good week of practice, and that's where we're at. But proud of our guys. I think we have a good team. I've always felt like we have a bunch of good guys on our team, and it was good to see them pull together and have some success. So I'll throw it out for some questions.
Mike Loss.
Kirk Riley Moss said that it was your best week of preparation this year, and other players said it was a really good week of prep. The short week apparently didn't matter, judged on comments like that. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a little different this past week. Normally Tuesdays, Wednesdays are heavy work days for us, and we couldn't work on Tuesday, obviously. So had to cut things back, and really Wednesday was our only, hard work day, if you will. But a big part of that when you're in those kinds of situations, which again we're going to be in the next couple of weeks here, it's more as much mental as it is physical. And the other thing I would tell you is every good team I've been around learns how to practice each week and learns how to do it better, and they don't get distracted. And that's we still have room for improvement. I wouldn't disagree with Riley, but we have room for improvement. And also we need to make sure, we don't get distracted and, basically a third of our season's over. So there's a lot of work in front of us right now, and hopefully we can build on this instead of, be distracted by what happened today.
Jeff Johnson?
Yeah, Coach. Can you talk about the importance of the run game today? And you were missing a couple of guys with Kronk and Shooter, I guess. Is there an update on them? Are they injured? Is this long term? Can you divulge anything that way?
Yeah, I asked message to be sent right before the game. It was medical for both those guys. So we'll see how this week goes. But we'll see how it goes. But to that point, it creates opportunity. We've always talked about the next man in, next man up, and graduation causes that, injuries cause that. So it gave some other guys an opportunity to play. And I don't know if this was Cody's first start at all, or I think it is. But anyway, I thought he did a good job, answered the bell, and certainly Mark Kallenberger out at right tackle did a good job too. So I think it's his first start at tackle. I'm not 100% sure. But, the guys practiced well all week. And, I think we lost Shooter somewhere midweek. But, nobody flinched. They just kept working and, really happy about that. And then the run game and the balance is something we always strive for. Going back, I think I said this on Tuesday, but last week I know we threw it 50 or 51 times. 21 of those were in 2-minute drives. So, you got to keep that in consideration too. But, at the end of the day, we like to be balanced if at all possible, depending on what the defense is doing against us.
Chad?
Yeah, you brought him up, so I'll follow up here. Troy Taylor, I mean, how much do you I guess give me a sense of how big of a factor he's been in your eyes with the directional kicks, the distance, the field position you created today.
Yeah, first of all, just totally unexpected because he's new. He's new to the game. He's new to America. I mean, go right down the list. And anytime you're counting on newcomers, you must know something that other people don't know. So he's just been a really pleasant addition to our team. I think it's really interesting if you look at today's game. Two of the biggest impact players are guys that are newcomers, both Charlie Jones and Torrey. So Torrey's a little bit more of a better story because, again, this is his first exposure to American football, but he doesn't seem fazed by anything. Including wind. Last week was a really tricky situation windy-wise. Today it was a factor, and he just goes out and plays. So just really, really happy for him, really proud of him. He's a delightful young man, just a tremendous young person. So he's been a great addition. And, weather conditions like this week and last week, that makes you that much more impressed. And I think he's gained all of our confidence, all of his teammates, and certainly the coaching staff. So been a really good addition for us.
Rick?
Coach, when did you think Charlie Jones might be able to have an impact in your program? Was it going back to when he first showed up in practice, or when was it?
Yeah, I mean, he's showing some signs and all that. And I think some of the assistants were a little more convinced than I was. I guess I'm a little slower sometimes you got to see things. And so to me, the $1 million question was going to be when we really started, him in our offense or him returning punts and doing it in live action. And it's true of every player. You just feel better after you see him on a game field actually competing. So as you guys know, returning punts is a really tough thing to do. It's tricky in the last 2 weeks, just like I said with Torrey, it's really tricky in the weather conditions. But I mean, I haven't had an anxious moment with him back there. I just feel really good with him back there, fielding good judgment, good ball skills. And then what he showed today, I think was really probably what some of our guys, offensive guys especially, thought. And we don't practice punt returns live. We just don't do that. Or kick returns. I still go back to the 80s, seeing Quinn Early get his shoulder knocked out. I'll never forget that on a kickoff coverage in a scrimmage. So we just don't do that. And to watch the way he's performed 3 weeks now, it's really great. And he's a pretty good player on offense too. So you'll see him keep working forward that way as well.
Scott?
Yeah, when you look at the pass rush, I mean, it seems like it's each week it's taking steps forward. It's becoming more active, and it's not only it's making disruption, which I think is ultimately the goal, and sacks are just part of that. In what ways have you seen the growth, and how has it been instrumental to this defense getting better week by week?
That's what football is all about, in my opinion, and especially here. And if you look at our D line, I think you guys know this stuff better than I do. Chauncey's the only guy back that really is a starter, right? So, Davion's playing really well, and played last year, but he didn't play last year like he's playing now. but he also had two seniors sitting in front of him that impacted that a little bit. So, the whole idea for everybody is to move forward, grow and move forward and improve. And, sometimes you take a couple steps back when you're trying to do that. Failure is part of growth. But, we're seeing improvement. Guys are working hard. When guys work hard, that's positive. And I got to tell you, I was kind of pleasantly impressed or pleased with our backup guys today. I thought when they were in there, we saw some better things. And I don't know if Joe Evans is maybe not a backup. We're rotating him in there, but he is, and he's not starting. The game started. Noah, I thought, played better. John Wagner. So seeing those guys getting involved too is really, it's got to be a group effort. So if everybody's moving forward, we got a chance to maybe become a good team.
Chad?
Hey, Coach, I understand you got a game ball for passing Paterno today in the locker room. What did that mean to you?
Yeah, it probably means I've been here a while, right? So, it's that stuff's all great. And promise you, just, it wasn't prominent on my mind. We needed to play well today. That's what we needed to do. So, it's great. And whenever I retire, whenever that day comes, hopefully it's not for quite a while, although I'm sure some people are wondering about that. But, then we'll sit around and talk about stuff like that. It's neat. But, what's more important is we got to win today. I'm really, really happy for our players.
Rick?
Coach, I'm going to test your memory going back to 1981. Do you remember another Charlie Jones, Coach Fry sneaking him into
Charlie.
the game? Yeah.
Why split against Indiana? Why split?
Right.
Touchdown,
Any other memories of that play?
Yeah, it was a touchdown. We needed one, so it was pretty good. But we ran it to the south end zone. I think he was lined up at right tight end at 100 and however many pounds he was, but they didn't get it, and right down the middle. So it was called Y split.
Mark?
I asked Donnie Patterson. He'll verify that, or he'll say I'm full of crap. But anyway, one play, Charlie, right?
Hey, Kirk, Charlie Jones told us about 10 minutes ago he's not yet on scholarship. Has that changed in the last 10 minutes, or when do you expect to be able to do that?
We'll do it when it's appropriate. And I'm a big believer in earning things, I guess. That's kind of how it's always worked. And it's usually how the game works. So, but we've also got a pretty storied tradition of walk-ons, and I think we've always been really fair with them. So, we'll take care of that whenever it's appropriate. And he certainly made big steps today. That's for sure.
Scott?
Yeah.
If his agent contacts me tomorrow, we'll talk about it and see where it all goes.
There you go. Two of your key players you expected to have going into this season were Austin Schulte and Jack Campbell. What's their status? And then when they are back and they are practicing, do you anticipate them stepping in the starting lineup, working their way in? I mean, where do you see them fitting in?
Yeah, so Austin's going to actually start doing some work. I don't know how soon he will get him out to the field with full contact and all that, but he'll start being able to work tomorrow. So maybe he can help us out this week. It'd be great to get him back, and he does such a great job leadership wise. And I can say the same thing about Jack, although Jack's not a veteran guy like Austin. So well, Jack is, unless something happens I'm not aware of, he's cleared to start working tomorrow. But the problem is, he's got 3 weeks of inactivity, and it wasn't COVID related. So he's got 3 weeks of inactivity, total inactivity. So his conditioning base is, it's going to be a little bit of concern. And, we'll have the defensive coaches mad at me and mad at Cammie and the doctors, but, we got to be smart about how we move him forward. I haven't given any thought to who's going to start next week, but Jack's a really good football player. He was our starter coming into the season, and it'll be good to get him back. I mean, he's a really good football player. So, as is Austin. So those guys are both very valuable.
Coach, you talked about it earlier about needing a win today. Just with how crazy this season is set up, the short weeks and just anything can happen during the week. I mean, do you guys as coaches, or did you this week have to kind of give a hint of a sense of urgency, or could you see that the kids knew that there was a sense of urgency if you guys want these bigger goals? We say it every year, but just with how this season is built and just with the craziness, I'm sure it must feel a little different with the quote unquote sense of urgency.
Yes and no. I mean, when we play 12 games, that every game is important. I mean, this isn't baseball. We don't get 162 of them. So it's a whole different mentality in football. And if every game is not important to you, if it's not a must win, I always get a kick out of that must win stuff. Marv Levy's still right about that. World War II must win, right? But games are important. Like, we only get so many chances, and talk to some of the guys that have been hurt, right? Ask Austin Schulte about how important a game is. So it just, that's the approach. But we needed success. And I didn't mean that in a success or else mode. I don't live in that world. I know a lot of people do. We don't live in that world in football. But we just need to experience some success. But right along with that comes, you have to earn it. You can't sit around counting on the other team to, mess up. So you got to, you go home happy. It's not the way it works. So we just needed to, work hard, have a good week of practice, and then show it on the field, and hopefully we took a positive step today. Now the next test is, can we put back-to-back together? Can we do that? And let me go back to the first two games. I don't think that was the issue. We just, it's been a building process. Hopefully we're on an upward trend, but time will tell.
Okay, last question, Scott Docterman.
Yeah, I guess when you look at Alaric Jackson, there's less of him to look at these days, but on the field, he seems to be playing pretty well. In what ways has he taken those strides? And is it just merely because he's healthy, or is he a better football player today than he was, a few years ago?
Yeah, first of all, I'm glad he's on our team. All right. As a player and as a person, he's a tremendous young guy. The growth that we've witnessed, and answers that last part of your question, hopefully all of our guys are better than they were 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And Alaric really played well 2 years ago. Now, last year, he went after his injury. He had an awesome spring, awesome camp. And then he got hurt early. And to me, he never quite caught up, maybe at the end of the year, but it wasn't, it wasn't the quality of play we were used to seeing in 18. So, this guy's a good football player, and he's an outstanding guy, and he's really growing in our program. And he's kind of a quiet guy. You guys probably noticed that, but he's a quiet leader. And I complimented him actually last night just on the things I've seen him do kind of behind the scenes a little bit, and the encouraging words that he gives younger players. He gets it. Like, he cares about the team, cares about us being a good team, cares about his teammates. And so he's playing really well on the field, but he's doing all those things, as a coach, you would hope a guy would do, especially as senior. So he gets that, totally invested. I'm just, really proud of him.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Okay. Thanks, guys.